Did you know that there's actually skeletons on the moon? Nah, I'm just kidding with you. It's actually just a short adventure game that I made in a 1 week for the 1-bit game jam. The 1-bit meaning that only 2 colors were allowed. So to come up with something that could only use 2 colors, I thought of the moon being an easy to make setting with only black and white. I have less than 1 week, so let's make a tiny ass game. Back to day 1. So what I did on the first day of this week-long game jam, you might be asking yourself? Well, I played Baldur's Gate 3 all day. I did think about like an idea of what I was gonna make in a setting and all. I thought of this enemy on the moon and enemies being skeletons. I also made this little dude right here. He's a bit sus, but it should be fine. I gave the ability for him to walk with Wazda and this little walk animation. But yeah, as I said, I spent most of the day playing Baldur's Gate. And that also transitioned into the second day, where again, I spent a minimal amount of time just making a basic moon map. You know, I placed some random craters around on an empty white map. There's some random little lines, I don't know. I was just trying to mimic what the moon surface actually looks like. I drew these skeleton enemies, as you can see here, but right now they're just sprites, you know. I need to actually turn them into moving enemies and all later, but you get the whole gist of all the things. As in the title of the game, there's skeletons on the moon! So these skeleton enemies are meant to spawn when the player is in darkness, so obviously I had to add a day-night cycle, and that's what I did on day 3. It's just a pretty simple timer node here that when it runs out, it will fade the white moon background into a dark moon background. You might be like, isn't the 1-bit only meant to have 2 colors? Why is there this fading? Well, the rules do stipulate that modulating the alpha value in the code is allowed, so that's why you see the transparent stuff. I saw a lot of people complaining about this, saying it goes against the spirit of the 1-bit and all, but it was in the game jam rules that I can modulate alpha variables with the code, so it's perfectly allowed. But yeah, there's a day and night cycle system going on right now. Look, it's pretty neat. Here is how you change alpha of anything in Godot, by the way. If you just wanted a way of doing some simple fading transitions in Godot, here, it's just a tween that changes the modulate. And it only changes the 4th value of the color, which is the alpha value. Someone probably needed that, so there you go. That's how you make some easy fade transitions in Godot. I rely on tweens so much, but tweens are good. Look at this little ship crash landing animation I made with them. Pretty cool if you ask me. I made a couple more animations this day, added this basic UI up the top. There's like a timer, its position. It's a bit confusing, but I'm running out of time very quickly. So, the final days approach. I've got literally 1 day, I've got a little bit over 1 day left in this game jam, and honestly, I've barely done anything in this game jam. But you know what I have accomplished? Do you know what I have accomplished on this day? I finished Baldur's Gate 3! Thank you. I deserve all of this applause. I worked hard finishing Baldur's Gate, but seriously, I wasted so much time in this jam just playing Baldur's Gate instead of actually making the game. I don't know why I decided to do a game jam when my most anticipated game of the year just came out, but as I'm quickly running out of time, let's finish something out. So my original plan was to have survival elements in this game. Say you need to keep oxygen levels up. You need to do base defense with these little turrets that will attack skeletons, and just building up a base in general. And look at this tree I even drew that I was going to steal the Among Us oxygen minigame and add into the game, into my game, and into this game. But scrap all of that, just scrap all of that. Over scoping, I say. I'm one man and I spent the most of my time playing Baldur's Gate. So in the end, I just added a bunch of ship crashes when you start, and you just gotta find these ship crashes to make a nuclear bomb, and you just gotta nuke the giant skeleton queen. It just turned into a pretty simple collectathon. I ran out of time, okay, it's fine, but I make this cool little nuclear explosion cutscene for when you win. It's pretty cool if you ask me. But the story, you might ask? It's a bit all over the place. You've basically been sent to this to the moon by this private mining company to eradicate all the skeletons on it so that they can safely mine out all of the, you know, moon asbestos or whatever they're freaking mining on the moon. I don't know. In my mind, it's just moon asbestos. I made some basic background music and added some basic free sound effects. I even made some of my own sound effects. Listen to the crash landing animation now. Pretty cool if you ask me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to it, but you know what? The game is 1, it's not buggy, and 2, you can actually finish it, and that is a real accomplishment for me in a game jam. I wish I spent a little less time playing Baldur's Gate and a little more time working on more gameplay loops, but oh well, it happens to all of us, doesn't it? And that is the Skeletons on the Moon, a game I made in a week for a game jam. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to me if you want. Have a good day or whatnot if you want, and bye-bye everyone.